Hello! Today we're going to be assembling the mantle clock. First of all, let me tell you how we got there. So, I created the grandfather clock last year and it was supposed to be released last year, but I got took ill, so I had to suspend it for a little while. So in the meantime, I'd been really wanting to do a mantle clock, but I didn't quite know how to form the packs because you already have your face in the grandfather clock. And I thought, well, I don't really need to give you another face. And there's a few other bits and pieces in this set that I could utilise in a mantle clock set. So I thought, okay, how am I going to do that? So what I've come up with is an expansion pack. So if you have the grandfather clock, if you have a look, actually, because all my 3D projects have a die cut list in your packaging now. So these are the items that are come within this pack, and obviously your A5 dies. I'll mention the A5 dies in just a second. But here it says these are the pieces you need from the grandfather clock kit. So in the grandfather clock kit, it says you need your face. You need the internal decorative element. You need 2 of these little lozenge shaped pieces. You need 6 of this bracket or hinge piece, and then you need this semicircle piece in here. So we're utilizing, let's have a look, 5 of the different sections in here. So this is actually quite a small pack to make a project because we're utilizing some of the pieces from here, but as I have been doing for a few years now, I'm utilizing nested dies as well. Now the nesting dies are going to form the base and the side panels around your mantle clock. So the idea with this is, if you've not followed any of my projects before, I try not to put basic shapes into your die packs, because if I utilize nested dies, you know, and they are double stitch nesting dies, so they've got a nice decorative frame to them. If we utilize these as construction pieces, then not only do I not have to put them in here, but it means we can get really big projects. So that's what we're all about. Okay, so in this pack, you'll see we've got these pieces here, and it says here that we're using the linking system, which is, as it says, is a unique system that interlinks the dies to form larger and more elaborate projects. So you'll think that does not look like a clock cleaner, and you would be right. So these are the downloads. These are the PDFs that you download in our group. They're there, you know, they're free downloads. You download them as often as you want. Now you've got one for the back and you've got one for the front. So these are ever so easy. Now you literally print them, but I've got a little reminder here for you. You print them at 100%, so they're the full size. And you want to print them onto some very thin copier paper. I try and get 75 GSM if I can. If not, I get 80. And that's just so when you put this through your sandwich or your die cutting machine, it's not really going to add any thickness, so it shouldn't affect your pressure. So that's why we do that. And then of course, you know, you can print these off and as often as you want. Now the way these work, if you've used my Lincoln project before, you'll be familiar with this. But when you take the dies off the packaging, very often you get a little bit of sticky residue, don't you, from where this is a nuance that's taken a little bit of the paper off, but you get a little bit of sticky residue here and there. Now I use that, and you want to lay it over. It's just like a template. You literally lay it over the pieces, and look, that sticky residue is enough to hold it to the paper. Now if you don't get any sticky residue on there, all you need to do is just put a little bit of tissue tape on the back. You don't want an awful lot, and what you might want to do as well is like press it onto your clothing and take some of the sticky off if you use fresh tissue tape. So all we're doing is we're going around and we are laying the pieces over the template, and the connectors are like little jigsaw pieces. So this is the simplest thing. Anybody can do it. You can do it with your children. They love to do this as well. Okay, so you cover it over. And then what I would do I have my tape here? Get a tiny piece of your low tack tape and then just pop a little bit over the join. Now, be careful not to go over the cut line. You want it just beside, over the join. This is a brand new, unique system that I came up with. Where are we now? It was 2018 when I came up with this idea of linking dies together and then using different connectors. I was so chuffed with it because once I've done this, you'll be able to see that. I'll just take the underneath one out. Now, I had to put that on an angle because it wouldn't actually fit on the A4. So this die now is slightly larger than an A4 piece of paper. Now, if I had that made in one piece, you can imagine that would be a very expensive die to create. But because I've done it in 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, we can now very easily create this and get a nice big die cut. Okay, so the other piece that actually I've forgotten to mention, I think, let's have a look. Yeah, that was one little thing that I forgot to mention here. I've got the you'll see here you've got the hole in the middle of the front, and you've got it in the middle of the clock face. So you'll need the little hole from the grandfather set. Let me just show you that, because I haven't put it down as a separate item on that list. So it's just here. It's just that little circle die. So let's take that off and pop that in place as well. Okay, and that's it. Oh, that didn't. Where did that go? Okay, so that's it ready now, and we need to cut 2 of those. So you just pop your A4 piece of card on top and run it through your die cutting machine as you normally would. This will actually hold to cut those to cut both pieces, so that'll be fine. And then on the next one, you place the pieces down, but in the middle you put the semicircle piece from the grandfather clock, and that's the little pocket to get inside our clock. Now, before we start, let me show you what it's going to look like when it's finished. This is what it looks like. Isn't that cool? I actually did it in some black gloss cardstock, and doesn't it look like it's made of marble or ebony or something like that? Okay, so this now, I hope this is all kind of becoming clear. This is the little pocket on the back. So this is where, oh, I put a knot in that. This is where, because obviously you're going to need to change the battery in your clock, because this is a fully working clock, just like your grandfather clock. So in there you'll see that is your clock. So you'll need to get in there from time to time to change your battery, because it is a fully working clock. So I don't have a battery in this one at the moment, but as you can see, all your hands are working. It's a particular size that I had to source for it to work with this project. Some of them have got extremely long hands, and I like the vintage style as well. So these are the hands that are available as well. But isn't that cool? Now that is a fully working clock that you can put on your mantelpiece. You can gift to others, and not only, you know, does it look great, but it's fully practical. It's a working piece of furniture, basically. Now, I've done mine very simple and sleek. But you can now adorn this. You can decorate it. Use your blooming anthems. Put a flourish of flowers trailing down it. You can go to town. You know, different finishes of paper. You might want to try and make it look metallic. Pattern papers, whatever you'd like to do. Now, I would recommend, unlike most of my projects, I would recommend not going too heavy with your cardstock, because you need it to be a bit pliable to go around these corners, because it's got a lot of curves. It took a long time getting this shape, and I'm just so happy with how it's come out. And although it was disappointing that the grandfather clock didn't come out last year, it's given me time in the interim to add this project to it. And what's great about it is you can utilize some of the pieces like the face on both projects. Okay, this is quite a simple make. You've got your front pieces, your back pieces. Now these, which are the size 6 on your A5 dies, so that means the largest one is number 1, so you just count in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is that one there. So we've got 5 of those. Okay, so we've got one of the semicircle pieces that come out of here. So you want to keep those, or at least one of them anyway. We've got the 2 different styles of brackets, and then we've got our clock face. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to be using my brackets that have got the teeth on one side, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be attaching the piece that's just one straight tab onto the sides, both sides of all of my A5 pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now I've done that, I need to connect these pieces to each other. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the brackets that come from the grandfather set. Now with some of them they stay flat, but a couple of them I'll be folding. But like I say, with some of them you don't want to fold them, you want them to stay flat. Now the main thing that you need to do with this one is, because I actually produced the grandfather clock dies last year, I wasn't able to go, you know, back in time and put a little score mark for the right cutting point on here. So this is the only thing that you'll need to do, is you basically just need to cut it at that point, at that length, so it's the same width as, it doesn't matter if it's slightly smaller. And then all I do is I just chop a little V in the end. So that is the only problem with it being so long since I created the grandfather clock, but I hope you can see that it was worth it, because I think it's such a lovely clock. Okay, so I'm going to join my base pieces together first. So these two go side by side. So this is 2 pieces wide. Okay. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'll join these 3 pieces together in the same way. So I'm going to need 1 at each join, and then on these I'm going to put 1 at each end as well. So I need 4 for this, so that will leave me 1 for putting the door on the back of my clock. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do at the ends, I'm going to fold those brackets over. It's the top piece. Okay, and then I'm got to bend over all the teeth, get those used to folding over. Okay, if you look at the clock, you'll see that it comes round in a curve like that, down and then round again. So I'm going to curve this a little bit. So we're just starting off a little bit. I'm going to start with one of my front pieces, and I'm going to start at the bottom. And what we're going to be doing is sticking the tabs, which seems a little bit strange, to the outside edge here. So I'm just going to run a little bit of glue all the way along. So I'm making sure that I'm not coming over that fold line, that it will still fold upwards, okay? Okay, now while that is taking hold fully, I'm just going to go ahead and connect on the top pieces. We can bring that around. I'm going to connect at the other end. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is fold this over. And then we need all of our teeth to be over. On this same side that we're connected here. And then we'll flip it over and we'll add glue to all of the teeth. So what we need to do now, I'm going to start from kind of one end. And we need to push the tabs underneath, making sure we get right into that curve. And on this side. So we want to go in tight on these corners and get it in that, right in that curve, and then push down on it. Oops, not all my teeth were underneath. This is the problem doing it on camera. I can't quite get my head over like I would normally. Okay, so I want to get that right in that curve there. Now it doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy on the outside, because we've got another piece to go over the front, and then that will sandwich the teeth in between. So again, we're going to start from the bottom corner here and bring it in tight into that curve and push down. Okay, so while that side's drying, we'll start on this side. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my back pieces and so again I'm going to glue it along the bottom. So I'm just going to put a strip of glue across the bottom of my piece rather than the teeth, because it's just a straight line. Okay, and I'm just going to tuck that inwards. Okay, and then I'm going to put glue on the teeth here. Now you can go around and just put a bead of glue all the way around the outside edge of the of your back panel instead. I don't know why I do it like this. I just like to put glue on all of the teeth. Okay, so here we are going to just work our way in from the outside. Okay, let's cover this over, sandwich all those teeth up inside. Okay, we'll do the same on the front. Okay, so we'll pop our face on. Okay, so do the pocket, we want to just snip the bracket off the same width as the pocket. Put a little pointed end on so it's the same as the other side. Let's fold along that. And then just glue one side onto the semicircle piece. Okay, I'm going to fold along one of my lozenge pieces and I'm going to glue that just on the inside. With the piece with the hole in jutting out. Okay, and then we'll put the other piece into place when we put the door in. Okay, so let's put the clock mechanism in now. Okay, so in your bag you'll get your clock mechanism and you'll get 6 other pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the rubber washer and I'm going to put that around the spindle. And then I'm going to pop it in. And push it through the hole. Okay, then I'm going to take the flat washer, pop that on, then I'm going to put the nut on. Now, we're just going to do that finger tight. And I'm holding it from the inside as well. Okay, there we are. It's holding itself now. Okay, then you just need to pop the hands on. So your hands have got like a little protective coating on them. So you can take that off. It's just a little see-through coating. Okay, now you'll see that the circles are different sizes and it's meant to be like that. So the hour hand goes on first because that's the largest one. and you can support it inside because you'll need to push down. So that one goes on first, and you just push it on and it will grip. Then the next one is the minute hand, and that's got a slightly smaller hole there, and that's what keeps them apart. So you push that on, till it grips. Okay, then your last one is your second hand, and this has got like a little piece that juts out, that just slips inside that hole at the end. There we are. So when you put your battery in, so you want to straighten it up, and then when you put your battery in, you can just move the hands to the correct time, so they'll move. Okay, now we can pop our door on. So pop some glue on the other side of that bracket, or hinge, whatever we're going to call it. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to bend that under, pop some glue on there, and what we're going to do, put this in the perfect position, is we're going to put the two circle pieces together so they're lining up. Then we're going to close the door. Then we know that's where we want it. Okay. Okay, so that's done. So that's open, so you can put your battery in, and then the holes line up so you can put a little bit of cord in. Okay, so there we are, that's finished. That's our cream mantle clock, and here's the one we made in black. And if you make a mantle clock, be sure to share it with us in the group, Cleaner's Crafty Crew, because we absolutely love to see your projects. I think this is just such a wonderfully practical piece of decoration for your home, a piece of home decor. And I've actually fooled a few people with this one that didn't actually realise or didn't believe me that it was made of cardstock. So I hope you have a similar experience, and I just hope you enjoy making them.